Our top focus, Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut has been sent to the Enforcement Directorate custody till August 4 in connection with the alleged money laundering case in Patra Chawl land scam case. Now, Raut has said that he will fight and win. Remember, former Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray in a press briefing, in fact, said that he's proud of Sanjay Raut and that Raut is a true Shiv Sainik. Earlier, due to his arrest, remember, Shiv Sainiks hit the streets in the financial capital Mumbai, Nashik and Aurangabad to protest the arrest of their leader.
जमाना एक रहता नहीं, सारे लोगों के लिए दिन जो है बदलते रहते हैं। अच्छे दिन बुरे दिन, अच्छे दिन कब आएंगे वो बात अलग थी, लेकिन ऐसे लोगों के बुरे दिन तो जरूर आते हैं। और आप जैसे बर्ताव उस वक्त अन्य लोगों के साथ करते हो, शायद उससे बुरा बर्ताव उस वक्त जनता आपके साथ कर सकती है। नहीं, मुझे संजय राउत पर अभिमान है और बालासाहेब का असली सैनिक सिर्फ वो पिक्चर देखने के लिए ठीक है, पुष्पा झुकेगा नहीं, लेकिन झुका नहीं।
All right, and I'm being joined by Dr. Shama Mohammed, the national spokesperson for the Congress Party. Ma'am, a very, very good evening and thank you for your time to me now. Now, you've put out a very strong tweet, you know, how in fact the central agencies continue to act as puppets, as pawns of the ruling BJP. I would like you to share your views on what exactly is happening to the opposition leaders here and what is your message to the ruling government right now?
See, we all know that ED is a national agency and not anybody's personal property. But ED is behaving like the private thug, I'm telling you that, of the Bharatiya Janata Party and the central government. Now, we only see the ED going after opposition members, opposition leaders. Why not go after the BJP leaders? Now, recently, in fact, yesterday, 3 of our Jharkhand Congress MLAs have been arrested in Calcutta. There was money caught with them. And after that, another MLA from Jharkhand, Jai Mangal Singh, says that Mr. Ansari, one of them who were caught and suspended by the Congress party, had called him up and said that Himanta Biswasa, he has alleged that Himanta Biswasa Sarma has called them all to Guwahati. He will give them crores of rupees as well as make ministers if they help to bring about the fall of the present Jharkhand government. Now, this ED has to investigate. If somebody is coming out and saying, and they should check the call records between Ansari and Himanta Biswasa Sarma. Also, there are many cases, for example, Narayan Rane, Kirit Somaiya, the former member of parliament from the Bharatiya Janata Party, accused Narayan Rane of money laundering. Kirit Somaiya had said that money is taken from tax havens and used to build things in Mumbai. So why is ED not ED was investigating Narayan Rane before he joined the Bharatiya Janata Party when he was with the Congress party. Now ED has stopped that investigation. Sharda scam in 2014, they questioned Himanta Biswasa Sarma because there were allegations against him that by Sudipto Sen, who headed Sharda, saying that I paid 20 lakhs. Sudipto Sen paid 20 lakhs to Himanta Biswasa Sarma for his business to function in Assam. He was questioned, but once he joined the Bharatiya Janata Party, the questioning stopped. ED does not go after him. Subindu Adhikari was questioned in 2017 when he was a minister with the TMC, but as he joined the Bharatiya Janata Party, no more questioning. So this is what we are asking, is that why is it only the ED going after opposition members? Question also the corrupt or whoever is alleged of corruption in the Bharatiya Janata Party.
All right. And, you know, in this context, I want to, in fact, ask you, how do you view the top court's latest judgment, you know, where they've actually gone on to upheld the ED's powers, including the right to arrest?
Yes, I mean, it is not a great thing which has happened right now. It is going to weaken democracy, definitely, with that sort of judgment. But at the same time, the top court did not say that you need to arrest only the opposition members. The top court did not say that. ED has to go after anybody when there is allegation of corruption. Subindu Adhikari, Narayan Rane, Himanta Biswasa Sarma. Now, there is also, just before the Shiv Sena, the Eknath Shinde, joined with the Bharatiya Janata Party to form the government in Maharashtra, there were some 8 MLAs who, again, Kirit Sumaya was saying in Shiv Sena, who he was saying are corrupt. There were allegations of corruption. And one of them is Pratap Sarnaik, who had huge allegations of corruption against him. Now, he is joined the Eknath Shinde faction of Shiv Sena and is with the Bharatiya Janata Party in the present government. So my question is, why is ED stopped the questioning of Pratap Sarnaik? Will it continue to question him or not? So this is the double standard which we see. The minute you join the Bharatiya Janata Party, ED stops questioning them. It's like they've gone into a washing machine, or they have gone into inside the Ganga and they've come out purified. So this is definitely wrong. This is what we are questioning about. Everybody in this country, any politician or the Congress party is of course against corruption. And whoever is corrupt should be behind bars. But it cannot be only one-sided. The double standards have to stop. ED has to question what has happened to Vyapam. Where is it right now? It's gone quiet. What has happened to Shivraj Singh Chauhan? So why is that any case against any BJP leader is put under the carpet, and why there's no the questioning doesn't happen over there? That is the question we are asking, and you just go after opposition members. So where is democracy right now? Why an ED? And you have to understand that ED comes directly under the finance ministry. So who's sending ED? Definitely the government, the central government.
All right, you know, Shama Mohammed, what is happening in Bengal and what we've been in fact seeing, what has been happening with the Aghadi leaders in Maharashtra. There's a very popular charge against the ruling dispensation that this is a clear-cut bid, in fact, by the BJP to topple the opposition governments. Do you agree with that?
Yes, of course, we saw it in Goa, but we stopped that. They tried that in Goa. And we hear allegations that Mr. Sarma was involved there also. We are seeing right now in Jharkhand what is happening. We saw it in Maharashtra. So ED has now become the government. Basically, ED is the biggest tool with this government. They operate through ED. And that is completely wrong, because an enforcement directorate should be used in the right manner. I mean, you can't use institutions which are important to really catch the corrupt, to go after anybody in the opposition, to destroy the opposition and just put them behind bars.
All right, so what's your solution to this? Now, in fact, with the recent SC judgment, there has, in fact, been massive boost to the centre and the central agency, ED. What, according to you, is the end or the solution to this deadlock?
There is no deadlock here. It is the misuse of ED we are questioning. There cannot be a misuse of ED. I mean, the High Court, the Supreme Court should see that this misuse of ED is going on for such a long time. The ED's misuse must stop. They cannot just keep coming after opposition members and then they question them for 50 hours, for 5 days, and they get nothing out. There is no evidence, basically. There is no FIR. There is nothing. It's just they keep questioning, and that's about it. So this is basically harassment, and this sort of harassment has to stop. There cannot be double standards in this country. If Mr. Modi said, na khaunga, na khane dunga, I asked Mr. Modi, please go and question Himanta Biswas. Ask ED to question Himanta Biswas Sarma, Narayan Rane, and the rest, Subindu Adhikari. Why are they not questioned? What has happened to their cases? Why is it kept under the carpet? You have, when they always point fingers at the opposition and especially the Congress party saying you're corrupt. I mean, which is the corruption which has stood? They kept alleging corruption before 2014. I mean, in the 2G, the Supreme Court came down and said there is no corruption. There is no scam. In fact, that was the exact words used by the Supreme Court. In the coal, which they alleged, nobody convicted from the Congress party. I mean, not a single conviction, but where did you see conviction is? You saw conviction of Yediyurappa. Yediyurappa was behind bars, and he comes from the Bharatiya Janata Party, former chief minister. So if you're pointing fingers, prove it. Show us evidence. There has to be some sort of evidence. Allegations and harassment cannot work in a democracy. Now we are living in an emergency in this country. We have an undeclared emergency, and that is what is happening. It is just a dictator running this country, going after the opposition, any members without evidence, and sometimes even planting evidence by the agencies.
All right, Dr. Shama Mohammed, thank you so much for your precious time to Mirror Now. So that was Congress's national spokesperson, Dr. Shama Mohammed, joining us live on Mirror Now, sharing her 2 cents on this quote-unquote alleged misuse of the central agencies by the ruling dispensation. In fact, she goes on to question the BJP as to why only the opposition leaders are being quote-unquote harassed, hounded. Why are the central agencies, including the ED, not going after the BJP leaders? And on this note, in fact, going back to the arrest of the Sena MP Sanjay Raut by the ED. I'm being joined by my colleague Abhishek live on the broadcast, who's reporting from Mumbai and is very, very closely tracking the story. Abhishek, what's the latest that you're picking up in terms of the ED custody of Sanjay Raut? We know that, in fact, 8 days was sought by the central agency. However, only 4 days have been granted by the court. What's the latest that you're picking up in terms of the court order?
See, definitely 4 days of custody has been granted, and ED was, looking out for that, they get around 8 days of custody. And it is a clear-cut order by the special PMLA court where he said that we cannot accept the fact that he was not cooperating with the summons. Definitely he was cooperating, and in the last 2 summons which he skipped, he also sent his advocate and a letter, because being an MP, he has to attend the parliament. That's the reason. And most importantly, looking forward to the ill health of Sanjay Raut, medicines will be provided to him, and also home cooked food demand has been accepted. The application for the same was accepted. In fact, ED also told that, we will not question him beyond 10:30 p.m. in the evening, and he will also be allowed to meet his legal counsel in the morning from 8:30 to 9:30. So this is all what happened, and the clear-cut arguments that were taking place in the court. On one side, Sanjay Raut counsel was, defending and clearly telling that this is entirely a political vendetta around Mr. Sanjay Raut, and he was questioning the timing of arrest. And he also made a point that this entire case is of 2018, and the Patra Chawl redevelopment matter is around 14 years old. And now arresting Sanjay Raut at this given point of time, when there is a change in government from past 1 month, is something which is questionable. And on the other hand, Enforcement Directorate argued to the fact that there were serious transfer of money. Praveen Raut, who already an accused in the judicial custody, has siphoned around 1.6 crores from his account to Sanjay Raut's account, and he got around 112 crores from DHFL in this entire scam. And from that 1.6 crore to Sanjay Raut, several land parcels, including flats in Dadar, have been bought by Sanjay Raut and his family. So this is being questioned, and there are many players. Praveen Raut, Sanjay Raut, Swapna Patkar and Sujit Patkar are the close associates and business partner of Sanjay Raut are there. So they need to question them together. That's the reason custodial interrogation is must. And at the same time, the court agreed and gave them 4 days custody. And this is one side. On the other side, political repercussions are going on, which we see right now. Entire political vendetta is been said on this arrest by the Shiv Sena. In fact, Uddhav Thackeray also came out openly in support of Sanjay Raut. So these are the things which are constantly developing. Right now we are standing outside ED, and Sanjay Raut is back with them and in the Enforcement Directorate's custody. Back to you.
All right, Abhishek. Appreciate you joining us with all those leads on this big story. And now it's time for Mirror Now exclusive with former Maharashtra Chief Minister and the senior Congress leader Patra Chawl. Now, Chawl has said that there is blatant and selective targeting of the opposition by the centre, and that there is selective amnesia on part of the Enforcement Directorate. He also said that the anti-defection laws have made slaves of the MLAs. Take a look at this exclusive conversation with my colleague Ketan Vedya.
First question on everyone's mind is that after the MVA government, now we've seen that the arrest of Sanjay Raut and the targeting of opposition leaders. So how do you view this whole situation? It was Nawab Malik first, and now it is Sanjay Raut.
This is blatant targeting of the opposition leaders by using agencies, particularly the Enforcement Directorate. And they are selectively taking out old cases which have been settled, cases where Enforcement Directorate does not have adequate evidence. But they're digging those cases up again, hauling up the people and interrogating them, humiliating them before their family members, their workers and their political workers. And this is completely selective targeting to finish the opposition, to demoralize the opposition, to humiliate the opposition, and to make ultimately opposition parties irrelevant in the Indian political scenario. It is completely selective because whenever any serious case against any leader comes up and the leader joins BJP, the case is completely dropped. Any matter which is pertaining to a BJP leader or an alliance party leader, they are not taken up. So they are selectively taking up. Also, timing is very critical. Whenever any political development happens, exactly at that time, these cases are raised. Some of them are very old, as old as 10, 12 years old. And like there's a selective amnesia on part of ED. They go to sleep if that case is not politically relevant, and then immediately wake up and start the proceedings, like we saw in the case of Mr. Sanjay Raut yesterday. Well, we have nothing. If there is something wrong has happened, then and the Enforcement Director has enough evidence, that evidence must be brought before the legal system, before the courts, and let the defendant get a chance to defend himself or herself, and then let the courts decide. But you're not taking the cases to logical conclusion, you're not even filing charge sheets. You're just arresting people.
Mr. Chairman, but do you see this as only Sena's problem? Because when we saw when Nawab Malik was arrested, then collectively MVA constituents came together on the streets. So what, as a senior Congress leader, how do you see this?
As I said, it is not only Sena, because before that other parties have been targeted. There have been raid against ministers of MVA, which some people had talked about. And so basically raid, if they find some incriminating documents, take them and interrogate them and keep the sword hanging. And then selectively take it out when some political development take place. At that very time, take out the case and make a big hullabaloo about arresting a person, calling for inquiry and all that. All old cases are being dug up. Selectively, the timing is very critical. Whenever it suits them, that they want to get a political advantage, they would go ahead and do this.
Now, the political blame game continues to erupt over Sanjay Raut's arrest, while the opposition has alleged harassment by the BJP to muzzle their voices. The BJP has taken a dig at Sanjay Raut, calling it a divine punishment.
कुछ नहीं रह गया है, बस एक्सटेंडेड डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ भारतीय जनता पार्टी बन गया है। जिस तरीके से आए दिन ओपोनेंट्स को टारगेट कर रहे हैं, बगैर किसी डॉक्यूमेंट्स के साथ, बगैर किसी एविडेंस के साथ, बगैर किसी सत्य या तथ्य के साथ, वो निंदनीय है और उसकी लड़ाई हम लड़ेंगे।
लेकिन आप राज्यसभा में किस मुद्दे को उठाएंगे? क्योंकि बीजेपी कह रही है कि उनके इन्वॉल्वमेंट और जिस तरीके से लगातार एविडेंस मिले हैं, वो अपने आप को बताने के लिए काफ़ी है।
देखिए, रोज सत्य और तथ्य का हनन कर राजनीतिक काम से प्रेरित ये भी काम कर रही है। अगर कुछ भी इनके पास डॉक्यूमेंट्स है, जनता के सामने लाइए। आप फॉल्स डॉक्यूमेंट्स, फॉल्स लेटर्स, फॉल्स आर्ग्यूमेंट्स के आधार पर अगर लड़ाई लड़ेंगे, ये हम लोग इसकी लड़ाई नहीं लड़ेंगे।
Shiv Sena is basically a party recognized by the Election Commission, and it ruled the state of Maharashtra just up to recently. And whatever is being done, this thing is in front of the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court will be giving a due justice. We have full faith in the judiciary.
Yeah, this is witch hunt and vendetta against Sanjay Raut.
Vendetta against, that's time and again, because he was called, he was summoned many number of times by the ED, and he went to the ED, he explained his stand, he has given enough of explanation, but then too, I mean, whatever the reasons, now that he is under, he is with ED, he will be explaining his position. I am sure that he'll be released very soon.
कई महीनों से संजय राउत जी का जांच शुरू थी। कई बार ईडी ने उनका बयान लिया। जिस तरह से आज संजय राउत ने जो करप्शन किया है, महाविकास आघाड़ी बनाने के लिए कांग्रेस एनसीपी की तरफ से बड़ा पैसा संजय राउत को दिया गया है। इसीलिए उद्धव ठाकरे जी ने भाजपा को छोड़ के, भाजपा को धोखा देके महाविकास आघाड़ी कांग्रेस के साथ गठबंधन करके खुद मुख्यमंत्री बने और इसके माध्यम से संजय राउत को कितना पैसा मिला उसकी भी जांच ईडी ने करना चाहिए।